I sit in my favorite cafe in Portland, the smell of freshly brewed coffee wrapping around me like a warm blanket. My heart flutters with excitement as I wait for Ethan. He is late, but I don't mind. I imagine his smile, the way his eyes light up when he sees me. Today feels special, like something magical is about to happen. But then, as I scroll through my phone, a new message pops up. It is a photo that changes everything. I tap on the image, and my breath hitches. There's Ethan, laughing with my best friend, Lila. The sunlight catches her hair, making it shine like gold. They look so happy, and for a moment, I hope it's just a joke, a silly picture taken at the wrong moment. But deep down, I know better. My heart sinks as I realize what this means. Betrayal. My world shatters into a million pieces. No, I whisper, shaking my head in disbelief. I send a quick message to Ethan, my fingers trembling. Where are you? But there's no answer. Just silence. It feels like the walls of the cafe are closing in on me, the laughter of other customers ringing in my ears like a cruel reminder of my heartbreak. How could he? How could Lila? I glance back at the photo and a wave of rage washes over me. It mixes with the pain, a fiery storm brewing inside. I don't want to feel like this. I want to fight back. What do I do now? I ask myself, my mind racing. A plan begins to form, one that makes my heart race for a different reason. I could confront them. I could scream and shout, but that feels too easy, too predictable. No. I want something deeper, something that will make them understand the hurt they've caused me. I want revenge, but not just for the sake of hurting them. I want to reclaim my power, to show them that I am not just a victim in their twisted game. Suddenly, I remember the times Lila and I spent together, laughing and sharing secrets. I think about the trust we built over the years, and it stings even more. How could she betray me like this? I feel a mix of anger and sadness, but instead of wallowing in despair, I decide to take action. I take a deep breath, the rich aroma of the coffee filling my lungs. I will not cry. I will not let them see me break. I will become the strategist, the observer. I will learn everything about Lila, the way she moves, the places she goes, the things that make her feel vulnerable. I want to see her for what she really is, behind the confident mask she wears. As I sit there, I notice the laughter around me continues, oblivious to my turmoil. What are they laughing about, I wonder? Do they have any idea what betrayal feels like? Do they know how quickly life can change? I glance at the photo one last time, my heart racing with determination. Game on, I whisper to myself, a glimmer of resolve sparking within me. I pull my phone closer, my mind racing with possibilities. This is just the beginning. I will turn this pain into something powerful. I will rise from the ashes of betrayal and make them see the real Clara, the one they underestimated. As I finish my coffee, I feel a sense of clarity wash over me. I will take control of this situation. I will show Ethan and Lila that I am not someone to be trifled with. They think they can laugh at my expense, but I will turn the tables. I will expose the truth, not just for revenge, but to reclaim my own narrative. With my heart still heavy but my mind sharp, I stand up, ready to face the storm. I will step into the shadows of their betrayal and emerge as something stronger, something unbreakable. I can feel it. This is just the beginning of my journey. I spent the next few days in a haze, my mind racing with thoughts of betrayal and revenge. I could not shake the image of Ethan laughing with Lila, my best friend. I knew I had to do something. But what? I needed a plan. So I decided to observe Lila closely. Each morning I found myself sitting in the same cafe where I had waited for Ethan, but this time I watched Lila instead. I noted her routines. She always ordered a caramel latte and sat at the corner table by the window. I saw how she smiled at strangers, her laughter bright and carefree. Yet I couldn't help but notice the little cracks in her perfect facade. One afternoon, I saw Lila bump into a colleague at work. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," she exclaimed, her voice higher than usual. I watched as her cheeks flushed. "I didn't mean to spill your coffee." Her confidence faltered for just a moment, and I felt a strange satisfaction. She was not as untouchable as I once thought. Later, I called Clara, a mutual friend, to discuss my findings. "You know, Lila seems so confident, but I've seen her slip up lately," I said, trying to sound casual. "What do you mean?" Clara asked. "Like at work. She gets nervous when she talks to her boss," I replied. "It's almost like she's afraid of not being good enough." "Really? I never noticed that," Clara said, her tone curious. "Lila always seems so put together." "Exactly. That's the point," I said. "It's like she's hiding something. I want to find out what it is." As I continued to observe Lila, I remembered the moments we had shared. We used to laugh and talk for hours, sharing secrets and dreams. I recalled one night when we sat on my balcony, sipping wine under the stars. "Clara, promise me something," Lila had said, her eyes sparkling. "No matter what happens, we'll always be there for each other." "Of course, Lila. Always," I had promised, unaware of the betrayal that lay ahead. But now, that promise felt like a cruel joke. I felt a rush of anger mixed with sadness. How could she betray me like this? I had to reclaim my power. I decided to dig deeper. I started following Lila after work, taking notes on where she went and who she met. I found out about her yoga classes and her weekend brunches with friends. I even learned that she had a fear of public speaking, something she never showed in her confident demeanor. One day I overheard her talking with a colleague at a networking event. "I just can't handle the pressure sometimes," Lila admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I feel like I'm always pretending." That was my breakthrough. I realized that Lila's confidence was just a mask. She was struggling with her own insecurities. I felt a mix of pity and determination. I didn't want to hurt her, but I needed to expose her struggles. It was time to take control. "Hey, Clara," I said one evening when we met for dinner. "What do you think about organizing a small gathering? You know, just us and a few friends?" "That sounds fun." "What do you have in mind?" Clara replied, her eyes shining with excitement. "I was thinking of a game night. We can invite everyone, even Lila," I said, a sly smile creeping onto my face. "Sure, let's do it," Clara agreed. As the days passed, I plotted my plan. I would create the perfect stage to reveal Lila's vulnerabilities. It would be a night to remember. I felt a thrill of anticipation mixed with anxiety. My heart raced as I thought about the moment when I would finally expose the truth. I had to remind myself. This was not just revenge. It was about reclaiming my power. I was ready to take back what was mine. And in that moment, I felt a sense of strength I hadn't felt in days. I would no longer be the victim of betrayal. I would be the one in control. The night of the event had finally arrived. I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting my dress while my heart raced with a mix of excitement and dread. This was the moment I had been planning for weeks. I had organized everything down to the smallest detail, creating a perfect stage for my plan to unfold. I could feel the weight of expectation in the air, and I was both nervous and eager for what was to come. As I entered the venue, the soft glow of lights and laughter filled the room. People mingled and chatted, completely unaware of the storm brewing inside me. Then, I spotted Lila. She was radiant, her smile lighting up the room. Her confidence seemed unshakable, and for a moment I felt a pang of doubt. Was I really ready to do this? But then I reminded myself of the betrayal, of the pain that had pushed me to this point. "Clara, you made it!" Lila exclaimed, her eyes sparkling as she approached me. She wrapped me in a warm embrace, and for a brief second I was tempted to let it all go. But I had to remind myself of the purpose of this night. Of course, I wouldn't miss it for the world, I replied, forcing a smile. Let's have some fun tonight. As the evening progressed, I watched Lila move through the crowd, soaking up the attention. I could see the way people admired her, and a part of me felt a mix of jealousy and longing for the friendship we once had. But I quickly shook those thoughts away. I had to stay focused. When the time came for my speech, I felt a rush of adrenaline. I stepped up to the microphone, my hands shaking slightly. The crowd quieted, their eyes on me. I could see Lila in the front row, her expression curious but still blissfully unaware of what was about to happen. Thank you all for coming tonight, I began, my voice steadying. I wanted to create this event not just to celebrate our friendships, but to share something important. I paused, taking a deep breath, and the weight of my decision settled on my shoulders. We all have our battles, don't we? I glanced at Lila, who was now frowning slightly, sensing the shift in the room. I want to talk about the pressure we put on ourselves to appear perfect, to be the person everyone expects us to be. The audience was silent, hanging on my every word. I continued. Sometimes we hide our true selves behind a mask, thinking that if we show our flaws, we will be judged. I could see Lila's eyes widening as I spoke, the color draining from her face. And I want to share something about someone here tonight, I said, my heart pounding. Someone who has struggled more than you might know. I took a deep breath, locking eyes with Lila. Lila, I know you've battled your own insecurities and fears. You've shown us a brave face, but I want everyone to understand that it's okay to be vulnerable. Gasps filled the room, and I felt a mix of satisfaction and empathy wash over me. I was revealing her truths, but I wasn't doing it out of malice. I was doing it to show the world that we are all human, that we all have our struggles. Lila, you don't have to hide anymore, I said softly, my voice breaking slightly. We love you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. The crowd was silent, and I could see tears welling up in Lila's eyes. My heart ached for her. I realized that my actions stemmed from pain, not hatred. As I stepped down from the microphone, I felt a strange sense of relief. I had exposed Lila's vulnerabilities, but I had also freed myself from the grip of betrayal. In that moment, I understood that revenge was not the answer. Healing was. The room felt heavy after my public reveal. I stood there, surrounded by the whispers of the crowd, but all I could hear was the thumping of my heart. I had exposed Lila's secrets, and now the silence was deafening. I turned away from the stunned faces around me, needing to escape the weight of their gazes. As I stepped into the dim hallway, I felt a mix of emotions swirling inside me. I had planned this moment to hurt Lila, to bring her down to my level. But now that it was done, I felt hollow. I leaned against the wall, trying to catch my breath when I heard footsteps behind me. Clara? Lila's voice trembled as she approached. I turned, and there she was, her makeup smudged, her face pale. The confident woman I had known seemed to vanish, replaced by someone vulnerable. I need to talk to you, she said, her voice cracking. Why now, Lila? I asked, my tone sharper than intended. You had your chance when you were laughing with Ethan behind my back. I know, she breathed, her eyes glistening with tears. I messed up. I really did. But what you did tonight, it was brutal. I crossed my arms, unsure of how to respond. Brutal? You think I wanted to hurt you? You betrayed me. You were my best friend. I never meant to hurt you, she exclaimed, her voice rising with frustration and desperation. Ethan was... I thought he liked me. I was confused, Clara. I didn't know what I was doing. Her admission took me off guard. I had pictured her as the villain in my story, but now she was just a scared person who had made a mistake. Confused? I echoed, trying to process her words. "You were my friend, Lila. You should have come to me." "I know, and I'm sorry," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I thought I could handle it. I thought I could keep everything under control." I stepped closer, feeling the tension between us shift. "But you couldn't, could you? You thought you could play both sides and not get caught." "No. I was stupid and selfish," she admitted, her voice cracking. "I didn't realize how much I was hurting you until it was too late. I felt so lost, Clara. It's not an excuse, but it's the truth." I was silent, taking in her words. I had spent so much time plotting my revenge that I had failed to see the person behind the betrayal. Lila wasn't just the source of my pain. She was a human being, struggling with her own demons. I took a deep breath, feeling a shift inside me. "What do you mean you were lost?" She looked down, her shoulders shaking as she spoke. "I've always felt like I had to be perfect. In school, in my job, with friends. I thought if I acted confident, everyone would believe it. But inside, I was terrified. I didn't know how to be honest with myself or with you." Her vulnerability struck a chord within me. I remembered the times I had felt lost, too. The moments I had hidden my pain behind a smile. "Lila, I never saw that side of you," I said softly. "I thought you had it all figured out." "I don't. I never did," she admitted, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. "I tried to be someone I'm not, and I ended up hurting the one person I cared about the most." The anger I had clung to began to dissolve. In this moment, I saw Lila not just as a betrayer, but as a flawed individual, caught in her own web of insecurities. "I don't want to stay in this place of hurt," I said, my voice steadying. "I want to heal, and I think you do too." "Do you really mean that?" she asked, her eyes wide with surprise. "Yes," I replied, feeling something within me shift. "I want to move forward. I don't know if we can fix what's broken, but I don't want to carry this anger anymore." Lila nodded, her expression softening. "I'll do whatever it takes to make things right, Clara. I promise." In that moment, I realized that true empowerment comes from healing rather than revenge. We were both flawed, both lost in our ways, but perhaps we could find a path to forgiveness together. "Let's start fresh," I said, extending my hand. "Fresh sounds good," she replied, grasping my hand tightly. As we stood there, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Maybe this was the beginning of a new chapter, not just for us, but for myself as well. As I sat alone in my favorite corner of the cafe, the weight of betrayal slowly lifted from my shoulders. The sun streamed through the window, casting warm light on the table, and for the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of hope. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, embracing the stillness that surrounded me. Healing was not just about forgetting, it was about finding myself again. I picked up my phone and scrolled through my contacts, stopping at names of friends I had not spoken to in ages. I hesitated, but then I pressed the call button for Sarah, a friend from college who always knew how to make me smile. As the phone rang, I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Hey, Clara! Long time no see!" Sarah answered, her voice bright and cheerful. "Hi, Sarah, I know, right? I've been busy," I replied, trying not to sound too vague. "Busy or hiding?" she teased lightly. "Let's get together. I miss our coffee dates." I smiled at the thought. "I miss them too. How about tomorrow?" "Perfect. I'll see you at our old spot," she suggested. "Absolutely. I can't wait," I said, feeling a warmth spread through my chest. After hanging up, I felt a surge of energy. Reconnecting with friends would remind me of who I was before the chaos of betrayal took over my life. I decided to take a walk around the neighborhood to clear my mind and enjoy the fresh air. As I walked, I noticed new cafes and shops that had opened up. I felt excited to explore these places, each one a new opportunity for adventure. Then I spotted a small art studio with vibrant paintings displayed in the window. Something inside me stirred, a desire to create, to express the feelings I had kept bottled up for too long. Why not? I whispered to myself. I pushed open the door and stepped inside, the scent of paint and wood welcoming me. "Hi there. Looking to create something?" a friendly voice asked. A woman with paint-splattered overalls approached me. "Yes, I think I am," I replied, my heart racing. I've always wanted to try painting. "Great! We have classes for beginners on Saturdays. Would you like to join?" she offered, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Definitely. Sign me up," I exclaimed, feeling a spark of excitement. Over the next few days, I focused on my healing. I spent time with Sarah, laughed with her over coffee, and shared stories of our lives. I also began painting, pouring my emotions onto the canvas. Each brushstroke felt like a step toward reclaiming my identity. "Wow, Clara! This is amazing!" Sarah exclaimed when she visited my apartment. I had hung a few of my paintings on the wall, and her eyes widened in surprise. "Really? You think so?" I asked, feeling a blush rise to my cheeks. "Absolutely. You've got talent. You should consider showcasing your work someday," she encouraged. "Thanks, Sarah. That means a lot," I replied, my heart swelling with pride. As the days turned into weeks, I found joy in my new hobbies. I started jogging in the mornings and even joined a book club at the local library. I was discovering parts of myself that had been hidden away for too long. One afternoon, while painting, I received a message from Lila. My heart raced as I read her words. "Can we talk?" I hesitated, unsure of how I felt. But then I realized that my journey was not just about healing. It was also about forgiveness. I owed it to myself to confront the past, not with anger, but with understanding. "Okay," I typed back, my fingers trembling slightly. "When and where?" "Tomorrow at the cafe," she replied almost immediately. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding. I was ready to face her, not with resentment, but with a sense of clarity. I was no longer the woman who had been broken by betrayal. I was strong, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next. As I prepared for the meeting, I felt a newfound sense of freedom. My happiness was no longer tied to Ethan or Lila. I was writing my own story, one filled with hope, self-discovery, and the promise of a brighter future. I stood at the edge of my favorite park in Portland, the sun casting a warm glow over everything. It felt like the world was waking up, just like I was. My heart raced with excitement and a hint of nervousness as I thought about what lay ahead. This was a new beginning, a dawn of possibilities. I took a deep breath, letting the fresh air fill my lungs, reminding myself of how far I had come. I spotted Lila sitting on a bench, her gaze focused on the ground. A part of me wanted to turn back, to run away from the pain and memories we had shared. But I reminded myself that I had chosen a different path. This was about understanding and forgiveness, not about holding on to old grudges. I walked over, my footsteps soft on the grass. "Hey, Lila," I said, trying to keep my voice steady despite the emotions swirling inside me. She looked up, surprise flashing across her face. "Clara? I didn't expect to see you here." I took a seat beside her, feeling the weight of our past pressing down on us. "I know. I wanted to talk. I think it's time for us to clear the air." Lila nodded, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I'm really sorry for what happened. I messed up. I never meant to hurt you." "I know," I replied, my voice softer now. "I've had some time to think about everything. It was painful, but I realized that we both have our struggles." She looked at me, her expression a mix of relief and sadness. "You're right. I was so caught up in my own insecurities that I didn't see how my actions affected you. I thought I could find happiness by being with Ethan, but I lost my best friend in the process. I felt a pang in my heart. You were never just a friend to me, Lila. You were family. We shared so much together, and it hurt to see that trust break apart. We sat in silence for a moment, letting the weight of our words settle between us. I looked around the park, watching families play and couples stroll hand in hand. It was a reminder of the life I wanted to embrace, one filled with joy and new experiences. I've been working on myself, I said, breaking the silence. I've learned that I can't let what happened define me. I want to be happy again, and I want that for you too. Lila wiped her tears with the back of her hand. I want that too, Clara. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I hope we can rebuild what we had. I smiled, feeling a warmth spread through me. It won't happen overnight, but I'm willing to try. I think we both deserve a chance to heal. Thank you, she said, her voice trembling slightly. I appreciate you being here, willing to talk. It means a lot. I took her hand in mine, a gesture that felt both strange and comforting. Let's take it one step at a time. We can start by being honest with each other. No more secrets. Agreed, she said, a small smile breaking through her tears. I want to be better, for us and for myself. As we talked, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me. The anger and resentment that had once consumed me were slowly fading away, replaced by understanding and a desire for growth. I realized that this was not just about Lila. It was about me too. I was reclaiming my power, not by seeking revenge, but by choosing forgiveness. I'm excited about what's next, I said, looking into her eyes. Let's not just rebuild our friendship. Let's create something new, something stronger. Lila nodded, her eyes shining with hope. I'd love that. Together, we can write a new story. With that, I felt the weight of the past lift off my shoulders. I was no longer a victim of betrayal. I was the author of my own story. As we sat there, two friends slowly mending what had been broken, I felt ready to embrace life in Portland again, open to new friendships, experiences, and maybe even love. A new chapter was waiting for me, and I was eager to start writing it. Share this story if you believe that forgiveness can heal even the deepest wounds. Leave a comment about a time when an unexpected conversation changed your life, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one. Let's embark on this journey of healing and growth together.